now to our special keynote all the way from the UK, Prof. Dimitrios Buhalis. And allow me to also read his bio to you. Prof. Dimitrios Buhalis is a strategic management and marketing expert with specialization in information communication technology, smart environments, and interactive marketing. He's an expert in technology applications in the tourism, travel, hospitality, and leisure industries, and he's a professor of smart tourism at Bournemouth University Business School. He was also a visiting professor at the School of Hospitality and Tourism Management, the Hong Kong Polytech University. He is the editor of the most established journal in tourism, Tourism Review, where we all want to publish Prof. Dimitrios, and also the editor of the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing. Professor Buhalis was ranked in the top 30 business and management scientists in the world. He is a world expert in strategy, marketing, and technology. He was also recognized as a highly cited researcher in 2020, 2021, 2022. Colleagues, that means that we use the work that Prof. Buhalis is publishing also in our research and across the world. He has taught in more than 50 universities around the world and delivers more than 30 keynotes per year. But the greatest one is this one, in South Africa. For the period January 2016 to September 2019, Prof. Buhalis was the head of the Department of Tourism and Hospitality at Bournemouth University. And at that time, the department was ranked amongst the top programs in the world. He's also the founding member and the past president of the International Federation of Information Technologies in Travel and Tourism. Prof. Buhalis, welcome, and we are looking forward to your keynote address on the topic Smart Tourism, AI, and the Metaverse. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Who wrote this?
Sorry?
Who wrote this? It's quite flattering. Okay, colleagues, good morning. Lovely to be with you. Back in South Africa after many years, so probably about 10 years, and it's wonderful to share some views and look into some of the developments in international tourism in these very challenging times. I keep saying that, and I keep thinking, yeah, but there's always been a challenging time in tourism, right? But every time it's more challenging, and every time it's much more challenging, and much more challenging. So who of you is industry? Who of you are academia? Who of you do not know? Okay, because I hate when they're trying to break industry and academia. Am I professor? Yes, I'm academia, but also I'm very practicing with a lot of different things. And unless you are in the industry, and unless you are in academia, and unless you have the interlink, we don't earn our bacon. I keep hearing the word sustainability, so before I do my bit, let me upset everybody. First, I keep hearing about sustainability, right? And we're coming to this beautiful hotel, and all the curtains are drawn. How many lights? Now, I've got presents for you, right? How many lights are now on because the curtains are closed? Please tell me a number.
40. 60.
If you get the right number, you get a present.
36.
75. 79 and a half.
It is more than 100. Can we switch off the lights, please? Do we need the air condition? Can you hear the air condition going zzz on the background? Do we need it? Do we really need it? Can we switch off the air condition? I'm not joking. Sustainability is not the Pope is going to do sustainability. We have got to do sustainability. I keep hearing around the world, we're going everywhere. And everybody is talking about sustainability. Drinking out of plastic water. You can open the curtain a little bit at the back so we have got some more light coming that way and we'll be fine. You know? You don't need air condition. The first thing I do every time I go to my room is switch off the air condition, switch off the lights. Not in this hotel, but in many different hotels. Housekeepers are trained to switch on the lights. So the customer has got a better experience. We are doing it to ourselves. We don't even understand we are doing it. My favorite one is what they call the mushrooms. Do you know what the mushrooms is? These heating devices that we have to sit outside. Talking about sustainability, sitting outside, creating emissions. It is us who are going to do that. And it starts here and it starts now. Often I go to conference and people are having jackets and ties, and then it's quite hot outside and they've got air conditioning. I said, take off your jacket. Simple, isn't it? Sustainability is about blaming the others. Tourists are blamed about everything these days. Okay, and I keep hearing the word over tourism. Next time I hear the word over tourism, I jump. There's not such a thing as over tourism, not in Africa, not anywhere. What really is happening is that you've got overcrowded at a particular time, at a particular space, where the journalists turn up, and some politicians, and that's a populistic kind of approach, they turn up, they put the camera on and say, there are too many tourists, get them out. They never say where what you call growth, or what they call well-being, what they call sustainability of the community is going to come from. Because if you take away all these resources, what are you going to replace them with? Car manufacturing? Agriculture? What do you like to do so this community is going to sustain itself? And there's this patronizing thing. We know it, we are the intellectuals, you need to get rid of the tourists because we don't like so many tourists here. Okay. I'm start becoming quite advocate of this because a lot of people are talking about things that they do not understand. And unless you bring the resources in, the communities cannot sustain themselves. Equally, we've got to look after this, the resources that the communities need in order to sustain themselves. In order to do tourism, back to your thing, you need safety, you need peace, and you need hygiene. If we would like Africa to do tourism, these are the basic things that we need to make sure that they are taken for granted. If you're going somewhere, you expect these things to happen. Infrastructure is very important. Transport lines, Tim was talking about these things. And what is really important is how can we bring quality for life for the locals first, and that will attract the tourists. It's not about the tourists having a wonderful time and the locals not having a wonderful time. I went yesterday to the reception and I said, how can I go to George Center? And they told me it's about 15 minutes by car. I said, can I walk there? And I could see how everybody froze. Walk there? No. I said, why? I said, safety. First. You cannot. Nobody walks. Okay. So these are the things that you need to do. We need to be very careful. We're about to kill the golden goose. Tourism is kind of blamed for everything and by everybody. Tourists are bad. What we don't do is we don't plan, we don't manage, we don't execute properly. And a lot of people, especially in industry and policymakers, they've never read a single book, a single article that has been written. So my role has become to stop politicians doing the wrong thing, out of ignorance. Nobody will perform a heart operation without reading the literature on it, right? Nobody will fly a plane without reading everything about flying. And yet in tourism, everybody who had more than 3 cups of coffee in a hotel, they feel that they're experts to do whatever they like to do. We need to be very, very careful. Now, this was my introduction to, or my reflection, if you like, on things that we've heard so far. Normally they bring me in to bring technology. And we think that technology is this magic thing that's going to take away all our problems. Yeah, it is a magic thing and can take away a lot of problems provided we can do different things. Now, a lot of people are trying to see me afterwards, so if you really want to get in contact, scan this QR code. You will find my digital footprint. So anything you want, the opportunity is now. 1, 2, 2, and another 2. This is my digital footprint, and I find that my university started producing cards, and I still got some cards, but this is how you get it. 2.5, 3, goodbye. This is some of my books. I'm just renovating the house, and I'm just trying to put everything together. And this is I've been spending about 40 years of my life writing books. Please buy them. For every book that you buy, I get a pint of nice things. And during COVID, I spent most of my life producing the Encyclopedia of Tourism and Travel, Tourism Development, the Encyclopedia, I forgot what it's called, the Encyclopedia of Tourism Management and Marketing, that has got 2 million words. It has got 1,500 contributors. Anybody contribute from here? Yay! Good man. And it has got 1,250 entries. It has got everything you need to know about tourism. Make sure that you get it at least at the university so you can do things. Some of the latest books: Smart Cities, Sharing Economy, Accessibility, the 2 accessibility books. Where is my friend that's serious on accessibility? Here you go. Gamification, and then some of the events that I've been organizing. Next 2 weeks, 8 or 10 of May, we're in Portugal for InfTour. We are dealing with Mediterranean tourism in November in Malta, and then the big conference on tourism and technology, February 2025, the Enter 2025 in Poland. End of the commercial bit. Last time I was here, I was privileged not to be eaten by this nice lion, and I spent a couple of days in a very nice reserve that's called Mabula Private Game Reserve. Absolutely incredible experience. Something I've been recommended to everybody. Because you understand nature, you understand people, you understand humans, you understand everything by doing this thing. This is a transformative experience. I also met your minister, Derek Hanekom, who's a very, very interesting, nice guy, who started talking to me in Greek, and we had a big analysis. It was 2016, it was just after Brexit. And about 10 minutes, he explained to me everything that has been going on badly in the UK for the last several years. He's not the minister anymore, right?
Yeah.
No. Very interesting guy. He knew his stuff. I've met a lot of your ministers in my last 40 years. So, big societal changes. This is where we're starting from. We're not starting from tourism. Tourism is a catalyst for better lives. It's not that we really want to do tourism. If we had a choice, we may not do tourism in many different places. Many communities do not really want tourism. They want a big fat envelope with a lot of money, right? Let's be honest with ourselves. But they've got to address those things. Peace and war, poverty and food security, income inequality, diversity and inclusion, building resilient societies, climate sustainability, health and wellness, and technology through AI and different things. The issue with growth is important, but also there's a very fundamental thing with the distribution of the benefit of the growth. Because what we see in many places around the world is that you've got growth, but then the income, the benefits are only going to some bits of the society. And this is when you're creating problems. So these are the big issues that we need to address. And tourism needs to be part of the Sustainable Development Goals. We've done a lot of research on this, and recently we published in Tourism Review this editorial. I don't publish in my own journals for the academics, because I think it's unethical to publish in your own journal. But we do some editorials. So this was the editorial that we did for the special issue that we did, where we try to look into how tourism is supporting destination, tourists and hosts, and which sustainable development goal is actually addressing and how. And that's a very interesting paper that you're gonna need to read. By the way, I've got so much material to give you that I don't have the time to do, but I'm gonna give you the QR codes, I'm gonna give you the reference to go and read a lot of those things. But we identify a lot of the things where tourism is supporting the sustainability pillars, society equity, economic viability, and environmental protection, and how it does supports all the sustainable development goals. So before you go into any kind of technology, smartness, or anything, you've got to address those things. And this is the outcome of the encyclopedia. The top bit is coming from Neil Lipke on the tourism system, and we've established that for the last 30 years, where you've got the travel generating region, you've got the tourism destination region, and you've got the transit region in the middle. For tourism to happen, all of these things need to be coordinated. So before United flies to Cape Town, you need to have all the Cape Town offering ready to go, and you need to be to make aware all the Americans who will fly on that route. And then you need to put the technology together, the transportation together, the intermediation together in the transit route. What I've added to that is that you've got resources coming in, and then you've got outputs on the other side, which is based on value co-creation. So not only you need to sort out the systems, but you need to look very carefully which resources have you got and what value you like to co-create. In some places, some resources are plentiful. You've got all kinds of things. In some places, resources are really, really scarce, and we need to look after them. So we need to look into each particular location and understand what's the problem here. Is the water the problem here? Is sewage systems the problem here? What is actually we're trying to do? And then on the other side is what experience we would like to co-create. I keep hearing tourists are doing this, tourists are doing that. I say, which tourists? Who are the tourists? We need to be very, very specific on who are we trying to attract, why do we try to attract them, and how we are going to deal with these things. Different people are doing different things. Scuba divers are very different than golfers. They've got a very different environmental footprint. They've got different requirements in terms of infrastructure and services. And we need to be very, very clear on what we're trying to do before we do that. And the pyramid that came out of the encyclopedia, it says that the tourism system requires planning, management, and strategy. It requires market forces that being all aligned. It needs to understand the exogenous variables, which keeps me awake at night, because exogenous variables are things that we do not control, and they change all the time. Last week I was in Kalamata region in Greece, and we're out night clubbing, we're having a fantastic time, and then Iran decided to attack Israel. So 3 o'clock in the morning, my phone is going crazy with alerts. What's going on? What impact would that have? Would that have an impact? Is Israeli going to retaliate? What's going to happen in the Middle East? What impact do I have in Greece, in Cyprus, in different places? Okay, so understanding what's happening on the exogenous variables in real time is absolutely critical. And then you've got the technology and the infrastructure. And the technology and the infrastructure creates the basis where a lot of those things are developing. Often people are asking me to talk about technology and the infrastructure. But I said, unless you've got a very good understanding, very good control of everything before that, this will not be able to help you. So the technology is the enabler and the catalyst of many different good things to happen, but actually it is not going to compensate if you don't have the management, the marketing, the strategy things in place. I'm going to skip a few slides because of the time, okay? So this is specific about nomads and aging market, some of the research that we're doing currently. So, as far as smart tourism is concerned, the issues that we're dealing with that they are driving from artificial intelligence, metaverse, robots and autonomous devices, and all that they require ambient intelligence. Ambient intelligence means that technology is everywhere, everything's interconnected, and everything operates in harmony with each other. It engages a whole range of different players to work as a network. Because smartness is not about technology, smartness is about networks. Smartness is how we can get together the different players to operate in a way that they manage to maximize the benefits through co-creation of experiences and co-creation of value for the different stakeholders. So nobody really comes to this hotel to stay in this hotel. They've got a bed to sleep. They come to this hotel because they really want to play golf, they want to see the nature, they want to explore the garden region, they would like to be part of your society. So it's really about getting the network of everybody together in order to maximize the benefit and maximize, co-create the experiences for everybody. I started as a young man. Steve Jobs was just about creating things, and he said creativity is just about connecting things. Tourism is about connecting things as well. And we're connecting things in order to co-create value. Spot the difference? I bought the computer. And ever since I've been connecting things. So Vision 2030 is all about agile co-creation of knowledge and value for the stakeholders. It's all about bringing anthropocentric and value-focused tourism through empathy and community engagement, through stakeholders dialogue and progress, through innovation, inspiration, and technology empowerment. So the technology empowered is the interesting thing by bringing smartness. And smartness primarily taking advantage of interconnectivity and interoperability of integrated technologies to re-engineer process and data in order to produce innovative services, products and services and procedures towards maximizing the value for all stakeholders. So it's interoperability and integrated technologies of different players. It's really about bringing together the different stakeholders to operate in open platforms that they can maximize the benefit for everybody who is engaged in this. It's all about shaping products, actions, processes, and services in real time by engaging different stakeholders simultaneously to optimize the performance and competitiveness of the whole value system. And that is where you're becoming really important as a destination. How do you bring the different stakeholders to operate together to maximize the value and to maximize the benefits that you have got as a destination? So what makes a smart destination? Smart destination is using different things. So you've got networks for interoperability and interconnectivity. You've got the Internet of Things and the Internet of Everything. You've got sensors that they're collecting information and beacons that they're sending information out. You've got big data and data analytics. You've got social media, Web 2, and user-generated content. You've got technological enablers for tourism, travel, and hospitality. You've got customer as service dominant logic, you've got co-creation of experience, and you've got co-creation of competition. It's all about bringing all these different players from your route to the hotels, to the travel agencies, to those people who have got transportation, to the airlines, all of these things to work together. And if they work together, they co-create benefit. So smartness is really about bringing together technology, but most importantly, people and leadership. Technology on its own does not work. Technology on its own will never bring benefits to destinations or to communities. It's the leadership that drives the benefits. And we've seen it everywhere. I was saying that to someone yesterday. I said the most innovative technology right now is WhatsApp. Because there's so many connections that you can do on WhatsApp, and in Africa you are really thriving on this. The lower level of the technology, the higher the connectivity, and the more interconnectivity you've got between different players, with no infrastructure, with zero cost. So it's about leadership that drives a lot of those things. And it's about people, human capital, social capital, knowledge management. Unless you've got people to understand how to operate these things, you cannot really progress them. So what I find is that when I go to places, it's not that people don't have the technology, it's that people don't understand how to use the technology. And many places, people are investing huge amount of money on technological systems that they're sitting idle because they don't know how to operate them. It's like having the best car in the world and you don't know how to drive it. The only thing you can do is play the radio. Turn on the radio, listen to the radio, go up. And I see that in many different destinations. Then you've got the smart system that is creating value for all the partners in there. And in order to do that, you need economic actors, social actors, and technological actors. Environmental with the social actors. And then you need smart innovations coming as a result of this. So all of those things are coming together, and all of those things co-create value. If you do not have economic value being co-created, there's no tourism, there's no activity, there's no value co-creation. If you don't have technological actors co-creating value, again you've got a problem. So it's all of those things working together that needs smart innovation. You've got different layers. You've got the physical layer, you've got the data layer, you've got the technical layer, and the business layer. Again, all these need to work together in order to collaborate. And it's a little bit complicated, but it's how you are responding in real time through smart systems. Where do you collect data when things are going wrong, and when you've got a disaster, when you've got a crisis management, and how do you coordinate the different players in order to be able to maximize the benefit and also maximize the resilience? And it's somewhere here. I don't think this has got a LED. No, it doesn't. You've got somewhere here in the middle where you say real-time sharing, where we're getting into what we call nowness. Nowness brings all the different information in real time to adjust what's happening and make sure that you operate in an environment that's clever and brings resilience back. One of the most recent examples is what happened in Dubai with the bad rain, right? Not predictable. You had a situation that has created incredible disruption in the airport, in the whole destination. You've got so many different situations now that you've got to deal with. Again, you know, if you've got a resilient system that brings all of these things together, you'll minimize the disruption, you'll minimize the impact. When you look into what's happening, is that tourists do not. We used to operate in a way that tourists will come to a destination, switch off all their mobile phones, put them away, and enjoy nature, look at the big fives, doing all kinds of things. Increasingly, people are doing different things in real time, and they engage with a whole range of publics. They engage with the people that they see in front of them, the waiters, the service providers. They engage with different tourists that they are in that place, but also they engage with their friends and relatives in the world, around the world, that they are out there. Those of you who are following me on social media, you'll probably get dizzy on how much travel I do. The other thing you'll see is that I've been here for about 40 hours, more or less. The amount of co-creation of value that I've created, the amount of exposure I've given to your region is phenomenal. Partly because I was introduced to this hotel, and partly because I don't play golf. So I went around yesterday, I was taking nice pictures, and I was saying to the world, look at this beautiful place, look how it's going. I've got 25,000 people on my LinkedIn profile, most of them tourism hospitality professionals. I have 5,000 people on Facebook. I've got thousands on Instagram. What the people are doing is, where the hell is Buhalis? What's he doing there? Or what's this hotel? So I have people who will say, oh, I'm playing golf. That's a nice place to do it. I've got one of my ex-students is running one of the best golf places in Cyprus, and said, oh, let's collaborate with them. So it's all about this individual who is online and offline at the same time, connects with everybody that's around the world. There's the concept of nowness. It's understanding what's happening now in a particular place, and engage with what's happening in that particular place. So nowness came last night. We finished the reception here, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I thought, 9 o'clock, you go to bed? That's something wrong. Last time I was in Cape Town, I didn't see my bed until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So my expectations were a little bit, oh my God. But then, as soon as I got into my room, the rain came forward, and I said, now this is the best place to be. Tomorrow we'll see, it's another day. But it's all about how do you manage value co-creation right now in this particular place, given what's happening in your context. And given what's happening in the context, what can you predict in your context, and what can you offer for your context? And this is really important because I grew up reading the marketing textbooks that talked about value for money, right? They were all wrong. Because it's not about value for money, it's value for time. A lot of people have got enough money to spend if you give them the right opportunity to spend to the right things. Because they are time poor and money rich. And in tourism, this is one of the very important things that we need to do. So, we grew up with Porter, competitiveness coming through either price or through differentiation. Now I'm bringing another factor here, which is the factor of time. Competitiveness is a function of time, and it's a function of instant gratification. So if you've got me here for the next 4 days, give me the best time of my life. That will open a whole range of different things all over the world. And it's really about understanding individuals and provide personalized, individualized, contextualized kind of experiences that they touch their heart. And that is what drives a whole range of things. So when you look into the future technologies, you've got ambient intelligence, smart cities, smart tourism, artificial intelligence, robots, bots, autonomous drones, and hybrid living that's coming all our way, especially in Western societies that you are trying to attract down here. A lot of those things have been coming. I remember when I started researching in the 80s, fax was a big thing. I remember receiving my first fax. and oh my God, this is connectivity. Now we're dealing with virtual reality and we're dealing with metaverse. Ambient intelligence introduces smart systems to everyday environments, propelling interconnectivity and interoperability of all systems, vehicles and devices through the Internet of Everything. So it's artificial intelligence, machine learning, ambient connectivity, wide area connectivity that is introducing a lot of different developments. Customer is coming in the middle. So you've got user centricity, and then you've got the whole range of technologies around it to actually enable them to fulfill their needs, their requirements, and to co-create valuable experiences. It is really the consumer and the human, not only the consumer, but also the employees, everybody in the value chain are right in the center. And we've got the technologies that are connecting them with the different people in the ecosystem towards maximizing the value that they are co-creating. Normally when I introduce artificial intelligence, people are getting a little bit upset or they get a little bit worried about what's going to happen. And artificial intelligence is effectively machines that they think and they decide. So this is something that's coming forward and is going to impact a lot what we're doing in tourism. Because the machine will actually create the itinerary, the machine will actually identify the providers that they satisfy your needs, and the machine that is going to direct you into different things. Artificial intelligence will empower the augmented worker and will improve our productivity through a whole range of things, primarily through personalization and contextualization. It will enable us to operate in many different environments much faster than we have done already, and will enable us to cut through a lot of information in a very short period of time. The most important thing is that if you wanted to analyze a lot of data, a lot of different hotels, hotel offerings, a lot of different destinations, it will take you forever, and you don't have the time forever. So the investment in resources and the time to find the best thing, it's going to take a long time and a lot of investment. AI is going to sort out this thing because you've got endless opportunity to use artificial labor to actually do the work for you. And then a lot of humans are telling me, but I can do a better job. I don't trust AI. So I like to play three little games with you, and I've got presents. I'll give you presents, okay? This is the Andy Owen Jones 10-second test. I would like you to count F's in the next sentence. How many F's can you see? If you can see one F, please stand up. If you can see two, stand up. Can you stand up? Thank you. If you can see three, please stand up. Sit down. If you can see four, please stand up. Thank you. If you can see five, please stand up. Thank you so much. If you can see six, please stand up. If you can see seven, please stand up. You see, how many PhDs do you need in one room not to be able to count the F's, right? Okay, I'll give you one more opportunity to see if we can get some agreement here. Okay, if you can see 1, please stand up. If you can see 2, please stand up. If you can see 3, please stand up. If you can see 4, please stand up. If you can see 5, please stand up. If you can see 6, please stand up. Okay. That's your little present. This is a pen. It's a smart pen because it's got a memory stick and it's got. You couldn't see 6, right? But now you can. The reason is that the human brain does not read small words. So you all miss the off. The F on the F on off. Off years of scientific off years, you haven't read that. The second one is a little bit more complicated. I'll give you 30 seconds for that to see how many triangles you can see in this graph. And there's a line down there, obviously, that you cannot see on the screen, right? So, how many triangles on this image? Who could see more than, who can see less than 5? 5 to 10? 10 to 15? 15 to 20? 20 to 25? 25 to 30? Okay, let's go one more time. Oops, sorry. How many triangles can you see? Sorry, I ought to give you the answer. 0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, 15 to 20, 20 to 25, 25 to 30. Okay. So you can see the triangles. The answer is 24. You had one already. So let's give you a different present. It's back from my time in office. That's a Greek connection. It's actually come from a Greek company. I used to be non-executive director. Okay. So if you calculate all of those things that you cannot see, this is what you'll be calculating. It's 24. And this is what AI saw. Okay. So AI will enable us to do a whole range of things. The next one, we are not going to play the next test because it's far too serious to play. It's a cancer test. It's about mammography. And it's about how can you see, how can you spot breast cancer. And there's a lot of research right now that demonstrates that the machine can see much better than the doctors. So a lot of things are going to come forward, and especially generative AI is changing a whole range of things on how we're going to be doing tourism. And a lot of these things we're currently writing about how is that generative AI will transform tourism. So AI will transform the guest experience, it will transform intermediation and destination management, how do we operate these things, and it will change a whole range of different challenges and external barriers. We'll be looking into a range of different opportunities that they'll be created for guest experiences, especially when we've got guests that have got particular issues or particular requirements, especially if you're dealing with accessibility, if you're dealing with special interest, if you're dealing with personalization. I've done this, we got together about 42 of us and we wrote a very interesting paper about what ChatGPT is going to be doing into marketing, and I did the tourism thing. It's going to primarily look into information finding, building itineraries, searching for specialized services, eliminating choice, dynamic itineraries, and content sharing. And on the supply side, from the tourism destinations and the tourism suppliers, it will offer concierge services for consumers 24/7. It will do marketing content in terms of text, pictures, and generation. It will do menu engineering and recipe development, fact finding, and identification of resources, social media, and organizations' own websites. When you see the list is quite extensive, and what's going to happen is that will enable a whole range of services for tourists, because the tourists will be looking to a lot of those things to see how they can benefit and what they can do. And from the supply side of view, it will enable us to create copy, collateral, and engaging with consumers on a 24/7, because you don't need someone to answer those things. The machine, AI, will be answering those things, and they'll be answering very specific questions. Quite often people are asking me, can you give me an example? Who knows Kalamata? Aris is excluded from this, but who knows Kalamata? Anybody who has heard the word Kalamata before? Who has heard the word Kalamata? Olivia. Kalamata olives. Well done. Have you had some Kalamata olives? Yay, they're wonderful, aren't they? I own 33 trees that they're creating these beautiful things. You know Kalamata, you get a present. You know Kalamata olives, you get a present. So Kalamata is a beautiful place, absolutely wonderful, by the sea in the south of Greece. Here you go. I was there last week. 28 degrees. Wonderful. This is the Buhalis Palace. This is my grandfather's house, and this is at the back of that. It's the olive grove. So I asked Google, what can tourists with kids do in Kalamata? What Google does? Google is saying, I don't know anything, but I know the people who know. So what Google does is send you to those websites that they are closest to the phrase that you used. Okay. So Google knows, so what Google says is, I know nothing, but I know the people who know the answer. Go and talk to them. What ChatGPT does, I know everything. And I'll give you in one page all the information that you need. So immediately it starts exploring and telling you what to do. So if I was a destination like you guys are, I will start programming and educating AI. So when someone is asking for things, AI has got the right answer. Because what's going to happen is that this requires quite a lot of work. And we all know that users are quite lazy. So what's going to happen is that people are going to go to this one. Already we do. But this is really the difference that you see between the two. And then you can see all kinds of questions. Okay, people are telling me ChatGPT and AI, generative AI for the time being, is not very intelligent, gives me the wrong answer. Yes, of course. It's a 3-month-old or 6-month-old kid. If you ask a 6-month-old kid, they don't have the answer. But it's growing very fast. So very, very soon we'll have all the answers. There's a lot of, I was just trying to play. So as a blind tourist, what can I do in Paris? What is the recommended thing? Can you suggest Greek gluten-free food? You can ask anything you like, information is coming out. The machine is learning through machine learning and will have a much better understanding very quickly. The next big thing will be image co-creation. And then what you see is you'll see a lot of images being created. There's a friend of mine called Christos Ditoras, who's come from a place called Parga in Greece. And he's creating all kinds of images about his place. And he's asking Microsoft Bing to create different things. So this is if Parga was a neoclassical building, or if Parga was in outer space. So he keeps playing with that to generate a lot of collateral that he is using for promoting his little place called Parga. Again, there's huge opportunity there. There's another friend called Lee Mallon, who is an IT expert. He spent about 7 hours, and he used Midjourney, ChatGPT, and Canva to create a brochure and a concept for 5 unique hotels, 27 pages brochure, some unbelievable visuals, and hotel sales copy for companies. This is what he is doing for living. But for the first time, he used all these things to create, the concept was a hotel chain that was nearby a volcano. So he was playing with the different things to create all this copy. He created that in 7 hours. If you were to commission a marketing agency, it'll be months and thousands of dollars, right? So a lot of these tools are coming near you. Not all the tools are. It's another, sorry about all the Greek examples, but I was in Greece last week, so I was playing with different things there. So when you go into an archaeological site like the Poseidon Temple in Sunio in Greece, this is what you see. And what happens is that you're trying to imagine what used to happen there 4,000 years ago, right? This is what AI will do. Will co-create, hopefully, with the right information and with the right people. It will co-create copy and collateral, so you'll enable you to reenact the experience and to look into the value and to look into how this temple used to look like and used to function in the 5th century before Christ. Of course, not everybody is right? Can create all kinds of fake things. So again, there are a lot of challenges in terms of authenticity. There's a lot of things that we need to do. So I'm going to stop here. I'm not going to talk about metaverse unless. How am I doing for time? Do you want me to talk about metaverse?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. I'll stop here, and I'll go to the last slide, and we'll have a conversation. It's better than we have a conversation. What's a clever way of doing that without going through clicking 148 times? Okay, questions? I've got presents.
First, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes. I only give presents to the questions I like, okay?
Thank you, Prof, for the presentation. Prof, just listening to what you were saying, I mean, AI is the way for the future and it's coming and you can't resist it, but what does it mean for sustainability in Africa? What does it mean for decent jobs, job opportunities for people with low skills in Africa? What do you see AI doing? Because you have to have a certain level of literacy, and the barriers of entry into the tourism sector are actually quite low, so they allow communities to actually participate. So now if you bring AI, doesn't that exclude certain communities from participating in the tourism system?
Interesting question and complicated question, and I don't have the answer in reality. AI will cost jobs, there's no question. And AI will do a lot of the jobs of information seeking, all the things that people used to do, and it will do it much better. It will cost jobs for university professors as well. Because if I can get all the information, why would I employ someone to do that? So we need to rethink and redesign jobs that actually empower human beings and enable human beings to do this. I don't know if you've ever worked as a night receptionist and someone calls you at 3 o'clock in the morning to wake you up and ask you, how can I get this tomorrow? That is the quality of life of that person may be affected by that. I think we need to redesign jobs in tourism, and we need to look into how AI can help us to make better jobs in tourism and how we can engage with that. As far as sustainability is concerned, AI needs to sort out where we are consuming. I enjoyed what you were saying early on, that I was looking into what's the consumption of tourists versus the consumption of the people who are watering their plantations or whatever. And it was counting things and was making analysis of big data to provide better decision making. I think it doesn't take AI to know that if you open the curtains here, you get light coming in and you don't need 200 lights to come up again. Okay.
No, but we switch now, the aircon and the lights.
Okay. So you really need to think about sustainability and sustainability, again, sustainability is about data. We talk about sustainability as a religion. Sustainability is not a religion, it's a way of thinking, but in order to do that, you really need to understand what makes a difference. What is the difference if you are increasing 2 degrees or you're decreasing 2 degrees? What is that? Is the energy consumption? What exactly it's going to be? And what AI is going to do is going to help us analyze big data effectively and make decisions much faster and quicker without someone being there. But on the employment, it's a huge issue. You get the famous Birmingham University tags for your luggage. Come and see us in Bournemouth. If you've got this, you need to come and see us in Bournemouth, right?
I feel like answering this question, I've also had to do it, that in the tourism industry, we're trying to find an answer, and I think your answer is spot on. But if you match it against other industries, AI is, I would suggest, much less disruptive and skews much more positive, because in the end, travel is about physically moving. Perhaps you were going to deal with that in metaverse. But I often feel when I'm answering this question, like we're trying to come up with the disruption, and it actually will be less disruptive than most other industries. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think AI will be disruptive on everything that we do. For the time being, I think it's still learning how it's engaged in different decision making. Still does not, some of the bots that I'm using does not understand my Greek accent. If you really want to have fun, have a look on the elevator with the Scottish guys that they're trying to go to 11, and the machine does not understand 11. Depends on the industry. I'm looking into some agriculture things, and traditional agriculture is very labor intensive, it's miss and go, it's basically traditional techniques that they may be right or may be wrong. When you use AI to understand where you need to do how the climate is going to change, all kind of things, it's very disruptive. They use AI on manufacturing extensively, car manufacturing in particular, some of the other things. So AI is not going to resolve all our problems, but it will resolve a lot of calculations, a lot of communications, a lot of finding information, a lot of analyzing information very quickly, which human beings are not very good at doing this. I'll tell you what's the biggest problem of AI. The biggest problem of AI is that we're going to become so lazy that it will become useless. And I'll tell you what's happening currently. If I drive somewhere, I totally rely on Google Maps to take me from one place to another. I used to know how to drive from my home to my work. I do not know anymore. Or I missed the turn the other day because I was not using it. Why? Because you rely on it. The same way, if I've asked you to calculate, to do multiplication, or even to divide something, you don't know how to do it. Because all that went to the calculator about 30 years ago. So what's going to happen is that we are losing this ability to actually do that. For those of you in universities, we're not teaching mathematics anymore. Guess why? Because our students cannot pass. So what's happening is that these skills, we're de-skilling ourselves from these complicated kind of things, and the machine is going to be able to do that. So back to your point, would I need to drive my car in the future, or would I need to employ a driver, or would the car drive itself? But I'll tell you something else, that if I can save time from people doing, I don't know, cleaning that floor, this is a very interesting place because it's an open place, can be cleaned by a robot quite easily. And if I can take this cleaner and train her or him to actually do a welcoming job, to show me around, to show me some of the amazing trees that are in this resort, I gain value, the person gains value, and they don't need to clean the floor. It's all of those things. I don't have the answers. We're all on this together. But I remember I came to Africa. The first time I came to Africa was very interesting. Because the WTO, the UN tourism now, the United Nations World Tourism Organization, when Frank Galli was still the Secretary General in 97, invited me to come to Cote d'Ivoire and speak to all the ministers about tourism and technology and the internet, the new thing. I finished my PhD in 95, 96. The big thing was the internet. And I remember coming to Ivory Coast to talk to all the ministers of tourism in Africa about the new thing called the internet. The big thing that I wanted to know was how to stop it. I had a very interesting conversation at that time with the Minister of Tourism and Artisanat, Tourism and Artisanat in Ivory Coast, because he said, I can control everything in my land. Can we stop this? I said, no. He said, we stopped the book about President Mitterrand that was about to come out, about his affair with the daughter and all the rest of it. For those of you who are old enough, you may remember. Why can I not stop the internet? And I was on national television with Frangali and the minister telling them, you cannot stop the internet, and Frangali kicking me under the table. He said, you cannot say that in front of the minister. I said, but it's the right thing to say. We are all on this together, and there'll be opportunities and challenges. Our role is to make sure that this thing and the technological development is going to go towards growth, and the growth towards human beings and the communities, because growth towards Microsoft is easy. Growth towards the big corporations of the US or China or wherever they are, it's easy. It's how our communities are going to benefit. But equally, I can tell you, I've seen drivers, I've seen tour guides, I've seen companies all over the world that they're using small-scale technologies. They're using Instagram, they're using Facebook, they're using Twitter, they're using all kinds of things to actually gain a good benefit for their company and also for their land. I remember last time I was in Cape Town, 2012. There's a young guy with a van, and he took us to, what's this place called where the oceans meet? About an hour. Cape Point. So he took us to Cape Point, and as soon as I got into his car, I just realized that this guy was exceptional. He was the guy that you used to take around the world. He had the internet in his car in 2012. And he had a little sign on top that he says, if you're enjoying the internet, of course, who would like to roam in South Africa in 2012, right? It would cost an arm and a leg, me coming from the UK. He had a Wi-Fi with a 3G or 2G, I don't remember what it was at that time. And his clever marketing strategy was, I'm going to give you accessibility. What would Buhalis do? Take pictures. What Buhalis will do? Upload. And he said, please tag me. The most genius marketing strategy, costed very little and was super effective. He created a good name for his company, he created a good name for his drivers, he created a good name for his neighborhood. Everybody benefit from that. So there are solutions, but we need to be innovative in the way that we're looking at them. You have a question? That's your ticket bomb.
So we've always had, and when I say we, I'm talking generalizing, this notion of AI taking over the tourism industry, where instead of looking at us being competitive towards it, but how do we, look at how being collaborative towards it, and just as you mentioned, just as Tim has also mentioned, how do we use it for our best benefit? Because ultimately, the tourism industry is about people and it's about experiences. So with that said, as much as you can program AI to various adaptabilities, you can't program person into it to a certain degree, not yet. But that being said, I think my question to this is, when we consider, for instance, third world countries and developed first world countries, how do you see AI exceeding and creating this gap between first world countries and third world countries? Part one question, I love the two-part questions. Second to that,
I've got a small memory.
Okay.
Wait. I think the interesting thing with technology and connectivity is technology is creating a bridge. So I remember receiving my first fax. Before that, you had to send a letter. Has anybody sent a letter here? Yeah? Write a letter, put a stamp on it, put on the box, wait. How long a letter will go from here to Germany?
7 weeks. If you like.
No idea if the person has received this. This is not another lifetime ago. It's probably about 30 years ago. I remember vividly, I was working as a trainee in a hotel in Kos Island in Greece, receiving my first fax from Germany with a rooming list. So, dear Hippocrates Palace, these are the customers that are coming on the next flight next Thursday. Came from Munich all the way to Kos Island, instantly. This was the moment that I said, okay, my life is this. Because I realized the transformation that will make. Okay. So up to that point, whatever was, wherever it was, first world, second world, third world, I don't like these divisions. But up to that point, whatever was far away, we wouldn't touch. So what technology is doing is creating bridges where the internet doesn't know that I'm a dog, right? In fact, I'm editing the journal. I was editing the journal last night. Nobody knows I'm in South Africa. Of course they know because they are following me. But as far as the system is concerned, as far as I have got connectivity, I'm fine. You know? So it doesn't matter. Location becomes much less important to what you do. What's really important is how do you skill your people to be able to be competitive in this environment. And this is where the challenge is.
Right.
The challenge is really about educating people to be competitive in a global environment, to be able to use the tools, and to be able to be part of the international community. The first problem that people are telling me is the technological problem. That is not a big deal, because you can bring the experts, train people. I'll tell you what's the biggest problem, is the fact that most of your people have not been out of your environment. And it's not only specific to here. Last week I was in Kalamata, it was exactly the same thing. The week before I was in Poland, it was exactly the same thing. So it's all about understanding what the mindset is of those people that you're trying to attract. And then you've got all the tools, and a lot of the tools are free out there. And guess what? Oliver is out, but there's a lot of skills that we used to pay awfully a lot. I used to be a photographer in my previous life, right? They used to pay me awfully a lot of money to take pictures because they didn't have the skill. Now, if you're a photographer, you're struggling because everybody has got a good phone and they take pictures non-stop. Okay, good professional photography is that, but then you have got to go at a very different level. I train chefs how to take pictures of their food and upload them on Instagram, on different things. So, technology is bringing bridges. It's bringing tools, democratizing to a certain extent the ability to access big markets. But you need to know what you're doing. You need to be inspired, and you need to be coming up. The other thing I need to say on this is that quite often the tourism industry is very traditional, and you find middle-aged men primarily that they operate these things and they operate the budgets. So here you've got a 24 years old coming out of university that has been trained with Buhalis to be absolutely agile, moving things like that. They go to the ministry, they go to the hotel, they go in the travel agent, and they get a wet blanket on top and says, this is not how we're doing things here. I've been doing it for 30 years. You're a newbie. You have no idea. And what we say is that, okay, granddad, what you used to do is now irrelevant. And then we've got a lot of people that they started very early in very low-level jobs, where they never had the opportunity to actually train and operate in a global environment, and they're the decision makers. Quite often I say, okay, put this 22 years old in charge of marketing, the ponytails or whatever you call them, and then they'll be much more effective because they understand they're digital natives. I got my first mobile phone when I was 30 years old. 6 years old kids now, they're going in front of the television and they try to change the channels like this and say, Dad, it doesn't work. It's not the problem of the kids, it's the problem of the television. Because if that screen works like that, why is that big screen doesn't work like this? Okay, your second question?
Yes, thank you very much, and I definitely agree with that statement as well. And that is, I think, the importance of academia where it comes into play in equipping us, because as well as technology providing that bridge for us, it's about understanding how it works and utilizing it. And I think that's where the academia section comes into it. But coming back,
and the industry needs to be open-minded.
Correct.
And come in and work with us.
Correct.
Because quite often I go around and I say, and I meet people and it says, especially accessible tourism. I said, have you seen the books? 20 years ago, we created the books. Oh no, I haven't. So what are we talking about here? Just open up. Let's have a closed dialogue. I'll give you an idea for those of you who are local. Spend a week on a secondment, going to one of the local companies. Work with them in their office, secondment, and then take some of the guys from the industry and bring them in the university, professor of the week or something. Get them there to be with us, inspire the students, learn from us, learn from the students, teach us, teach you, teach us, teach you. That's the only way forward.
So just coming back to my second question was specifically what we've seen happen previously is how people are, within the tourism trends, are more experience driven when it comes to tourism and the motivation for certain destinations or experiences. So my question was, with this, as I mentioned, in terms of bridging the gap between smart destinations as such, do you think, or your opinions as such, when it comes to people having to break a little bit away from metaverse and going off the grid and actually exploring destinations that are not as smart? What is your opinion around people yearning for such destinations versus the AI smart tourism destinations?
This is a difficult question, and very difficult for me as well. If you take my mobile away, and if you take my connectivity, the first day or so, I suffocate. I've got withdrawal symptoms. Second day, it's getting a little bit better. After the third day, I just realized that the world has not died. I'm starting behaving like a human being again. Look, we also have done a research, I can show that to you, where we look into the typology of different people. We've identified 6 different types. What we call a dual personality. I operate online and offline at the same time, simultaneously, and nobody knows the difference. No, nobody knows I'm a dog. There are other people that they switch off as soon as they go somewhere and say, I only like to concentrate on this. It's a matter of preference. As far as I'm concerned, it's not either or. We give the courtesy of choice. We give a whole range of things to be able to deal with things. So yesterday we were sitting having a coffee, and Elmary said, "Oh, that's a beautiful flower." immediately my friend, he went there and said, I don't know what's called. Immediately he went there with Google search, took a picture, we had an answer, da. So the technology is empowering that. But sometimes it takes away from the opportunity to communicate with real people. I don't have an answer. It's personal choices. Personally, if you take the technology away, I don't breathe very well, so I cannot do it. And from a professional point of view, you really want me to show the lions. You really want me to show the garden view, the garden route. You really want me to show this beautiful hotel. Have a look on my LinkedIn, have a look on my Instagram to see what I do. And it's free advertising. So you never do that. You just encourage people to do that. You want to create a bridge. If I'm here, I'm now connected, I know Fancourt, I'll be following Fancourt all my life. If I go to the community later on this afternoon and I understand what is the issue with the community, I'm a temporary member of that community, I care for that community. And I don't know what's the next time I'm gonna be here. I was in Cape Town 2011, 2012. I care about Cape Town because I was part of it, created something in my heart. I met wonderful people. I partied until very late in the morning. And then the next year they sent me to a nice, the Westin, and up on the top floor they've got a beautiful juice bar. I remember drinking this green juice that I've never seen before.
Just as long as you didn't smoke.
Huh? Yeah. So it's not either or. I think it's how can we use the tools to maximize the value, the way that the value needs to be created. And if you want to switch off, there are resorts around the world that you give your mobile to someone to babysit it, and say, yes, Professor Buhalis is having an intense relaxation space and cannot speak to you. Is it something really, really bad? I used to have my mom, when my mom was alive, my dad was touch and go for a long period. You disconnect me, I was kind of lost, what's going on? So it's really about courtesy of choice. But my preference is to engage and then let people decide that I would like to go to the spa. This is the test. When you go to the spa, do you take your mobile with you or not? You don't. Good. Congratulations. I do. And every 45 minutes to 1 hour, I check something. It's a choice, right?
Thank you so much for the presentation. One thing that quickly came to mind, I liked the way you mixed issues around SDGs, technologies, and all this kind of stuff. Two questions. So the first question is, every time you try to ask about something that is quickly made up, it will try to give you an answer or a definition that doesn't exist and all those kind of stuff. So the question is, why are people calling such practice hallucination instead of calling it algorithmic junk?
Look, I've been old enough to remember the technology from when technology did not exist. So it's teething problems. Give it a year, it's learning. It's machine learning, it's learning fast. What terms people use, it doesn't matter. What matters is that it may give you inaccurate suggestions. Give it a year, it's learning, and it's gonna be better. Give it 3 years, it's gonna be much better. Give it 5 years, oh my God. Okay.
Then the second one, I think bringing up the issue of inequality that you raised earlier in the presentation. Through these sort of technologies, are we not going to be witnessing a situation where we have capitalism, techno something, where these techno big giants like Apple, Microsoft, and all those kind of stuff are going to package something in the name of disruption, while it is actually a situation where they would be taking a whole sum of total human knowledge and package it like disruption and then all those kind of stuff, taking issues that probably have been invested over and over from human effort and all this kind of stuff.
I'm not sure I understand the question. There is a danger that the big corporations that are controlling these things, they'll become more powerful.
Yeah.
Against other people who are not have access to it, and that's a big challenge. And we've got to deal with that. We've got to address that. And the reality is there are two realities. One is that you cannot stop the train. The question is, how can you get the train to be more useful to you? And that's what the big challenge is. Okay.
Maybe one more question.
And you've got my friend there who's been waiting for a long time, so you.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, Prof, I think I'll latch on to what he's coming from, because I think in the way that the development of AI is happening and the way that the technology is evolving, it's much quicker than how policies can be adapted. Because now we're looking at the issue of IP for a lot of the tourism destinations, a lot of the content creators. How do we protect those people? Because what AI is going to do is basically take what I've done and take it as its own. So how do we now get to a fast point where we get governments, organizations to actually protect people's IP? Because I think that's...
There's a lot of activity that's happening right now. And of course we've got legacy legislation. And we've got to address it. It's not my area of expertise, but I know a lot of people who are dealing with that. They are developing regulations, they're developing legislation to actually protect people from that kind of bad practice. But look guys, it's like the car, right? When the cars come out, there were accidents happening. The first glass was normal glass, was not protected. It was killing people. Legislation came later. Problem with legislation is that it's coming too late. And a lot of people recognize that and they're building on this. But this is not my area, but I recognize the need.
Just a short comment about that. Very, very short comment. Okay, the comment is that because we've been looking as an institute into that issue because we don't want to put all our data out in the public domain. So there are ways, I'm not at the stage to tell you how, but there are ways where you can use AI by making subscriptions, etc., and keep the information proprietary already. Okay.
Thank you, Professor, for a nice presentation. And I like the way you brought key issues that are emerging and also linking it to the tourism system and other aspects. My maybe question or a comment that might trigger conversations around us is to what extent is AI being incorporated in skills development towards accessible tourism or disability and previously marginalized communities?
Interesting question. Haven't thought of that. What AI is going to do is will create a whole range of new tools for people with disability. I'm thinking loud here. I've never come across, but because what's happening with disability is that you need, one of the big problems about disabilities is information. What is accessible, how accessible it is. Can I have access to floor plans? Can I have access to this and that and the other? And the problem if you're a disabled traveler, there were so many phone calls you can make. There are so many websites that you can see. But if you've got specialized bots that they go out and they collect all these things and they're collecting the feedback from people who have used and then the information and the decision making hopefully will be much easier. Because you'll be able to analyze. I mean, what AI is analyzing data and making decisions. And the more ability you've got to do that, the more services and more value you create. And I think that is where, hopefully, this is where it's going to come from. Plus, in some cases, in some disabilities, you are not able to express yourself in a particular thing. Let me tell you, the biggest disability is language. If I go to Japan, I'm totally disabled because I cannot communicate. If AI can communicate to me in the language I speak, to communicate with the language of the local land, and of course this is happening now. What's happening now is I go to places and I put the online translation and the person is speaking and I read what they're saying in language I understand. And we reverse this process. So I really want to take you away from technophobia, and I really want to get you to a thinking of how do I use this to create bridges, to understand, to learn better, to promote my product globally, and to get better value for the stakeholders I'm trying to satisfy. That's a good point to stop because I can see you getting a little bit worried.
I think we're getting a bit out of time now, so I'm surprised nobody really touched the question of data privacy. I think a recent survey said that 75% of travelers are concerned about data privacy. So they already use AI, but they are still a bit concerned by that. And just by the way, one second to introduce you, Aris, because Aris has just joined the TTRA board recently. Aris Ecos. Thanks for him. And so if you want to engage with somebody from the industry from Greece, please be welcome to do so. And this is also one of the reasons why he had already, I think, received 2 gifts from Dimitrios. It's not only because he's super intelligent, but also because he's Greek. Nothing to do with the artificial intelligence. Thank you for your question.
More intelligent.